Welcome to Olympian Water Testing, giving you the best in water analysis. Today we're looking at the Washington Post, where Biden hopes to dig up the nation's lead water pipes, and a city also wants to help. So what's going on here, and what is this city? So even small communities like Newburgh, New York, need major federal funds to protect children from what the president calls a clear and present danger. As we know, there is no safe amount of lead, and it can affect children the most neurologically. So Newburgh, New York, they scrutinized the paint on the walls, the lacquer on the woodwork, and even the dirt that Charisma and Damien DePaul trucked in their home, an apartment in a century-old building along the west bank of Hudson River. But officials at the county health department struggled to explain why the couple's young daughter had a high level of lead in her blood. And that's when her parents suspected the water. There's no other explanation, said Charisma, who worked as a nursing assistant before giving birth in 2018. Here, this mostly Hispanic and African-American city was warned that its water contained unacceptable amounts of toxic metal. Lead pipes have long delivered drinking water to older municipalities in the Northeast and Midwest. Along with the risk they could leach lead, the water contamination debacle in Flint, Michigan, one of the nation's worst public health disasters, highlighted the threat after thousands of children were exposed. And now, half a dozen years later, President Biden has put a sweeping remedy at the center of his plans to rebuild the nation's infrastructure and address the legacy of environmental racism in minority and low-income communities. So they want to spend $45 billion via grants and low interest rate loans to replace more than 6 million lead pipe service lines across the country, and the measure is one of the most popular parts of the $2.3 trillion infrastructure proposal. And these pipes are a clear and present danger to our children's health, he told Congress last month, drawing one of the biggest applause and responses of the address. Also, the Natural Resources Defense Council estimates that from 2018 to 2020, more than 61 million people were served by water systems with lead levels exceeding 5 parts per billion. And there's no safe amount of that, and that's quite scary. 61 million people. And that threshold that the Food and Drug Administration, the FDA, sets for bottled water. Yet replacing lead pipes has proved to be costly and difficult endeavor for many of the cash-strapped cities where they're common, and Milwaukee's current rate of replacement would take 70 years for completion. In Chicago, which has about 380,000 lead lines, the job, as recently proposed, would take 500. In Newburgh, a historic, once prosperous center for manufacturing and shipbuilding, help from the federal government cannot come soon enough. A quarter of the city's 28,000 residents live in poverty, many in tired brick row houses built generations before 1986, when a nationwide ban on installing lead pipes was sent. Send me the money, Wayne Brandenburg said, head of the local water department, quipped in late April, send me the check. So can they solve this? Will they solve this on their own? Should be interesting to see. The latest lead problems began in 2016 when Newburgh stopped pumping water from Washington Lake after environmental officials detected perfluorochemicals. The pollutants, which had been researched, has linked to cancers, thyroid, and liver problems, had been used in firefighting foam on a nearby Air Nation Guard base. So, with that being said, it's good that the government is putting efforts to help with this problem. It's also interesting to see that small communities are taking federal funds to also handle this. But even with all of that effort, it's still a good idea to periodically test your water for any amount of lead.